Alrighty, it's another week. Let's get started. Today is Monday, April 4th. May the 4th be with you as we get started with another week of remote learning. I know that we are still doing a lot of human rights violations. We have a couple more to go through this week and next week before our very short exam. So just to lighten the mood, I wanted to put on a little, little decor and get ready for the day. Yep. Here we go. All set. Okay. So we are looking at Rwanda today and the genocide that took place, still comparing and contrasting the genocides in Cambodia, Rwanda, and Darfur. So later this week, Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be looking at Darfur. All right, so 1994, not terribly long ago, there was a genocide that took place in Rwanda. It was mainly between the Hutu majority, which is about 85% of the population, and the Tutsi minority ethnic group, which was about 14% of the population. So, a little bit of background. Rwanda used to be part of a Belgian colony, including like the Congo and some other areas around there. So, remember, Belgium was the mother country, Rwanda was the colony. Belgium is taking out natural resources, specifically things like rubber from this very mountainous jungle region. So Belgium what they did as a colonial power was they chose some of the people living there to give some power to. So instead of sending a lot of Belgians down to run the government, they chose this one group, the Tutsi tribe, that they could kind of identify as a different group than the Hutu to kind of run things. They were like mayors and governors and police chiefs and stuff like that. So they held positions of power over the whole Rwandan population. Okay. They chose the Tutsis because they were a smaller population, but also they thought that they looked more European than the Hutu did. So the Tutsi minority had a good amount of power and wealth, even after Belgium allows independence for Rwanda. However, since they are majority Hutu, many leaders that are elected into the government later on are Hutu. So in April 1994, the Hutu president's plane was shot down, and some people blame this Tutsi minority. Many of the people that are going to be committing this violence were listening to and following this one private radio station that was broadcast throughout Rwanda, that was used to incite the violence, that told people to go out and find the cockroaches, which they were referring to as the Tutsi population. And people formed together. They banded together in militias and literally went door to door, building to building, business to business, street to street, trying to find any person that they could identify as Tutsi. They did this because I guess there was some harbored animosity towards this colonial time where the Tutsi had power. So overall, about 800,000 to a million people were killed in 90 days. That's about 400 people an hour or more. So that's a crazy high number. These militia groups were extremely efficient in going around finding people. And most of the violence was not done with machine guns or even guns in general. A lot of it was done by machete or knives and things like that. So it was a very gruesome genocide. More recently, after the genocide ended and they formed a new government that was intermixed between the different ethnic groups, they are focusing more on unity and reconciliation, that there is not going to, besides like a couple of individuals, as a whole, the Hutu group is not going to be held responsible. So there will be no retaliation of Tutsis against Hutu. Obviously, they're still trying to recover a million people. To lose in 90 days is an enormous amount. I think at the time they had about 7 million people in their population, so that's a huge number. 1 in 7 to be killed in 90 days. So obviously, yes, the economic impact, the emotional impact on a country is enormous. But we can also see that as they've moved forward, an interesting thing that's happened is that more and more women have been elected into office. So actually, this chart right here shows us that 56.3% of the elected officials in Rwanda are women. So that is the most of any country in the world at this time, which was, I believe, in 2010. Yes, 2010, it says down here in the bottom. In contrast, the United States, which is not in the top 10, in 2010, there were 73 women elected into office out of 435 possible seats. So percentage-wise, they have more than we do. Okay, that's it for just quick little background information. Get rid of that. Okay, our work for today, remember, so this upcoming week, as with last week, let's just pull up the calendar again for you, in case you haven't been looking at it. So today is May 4th, first day of Rwanda, tomorrow the 2nd, then Darfur, Wednesday and Thursday, and you'll have another flex catch-up day on Friday, okay? So work for 5-4 Monday. What led to the Rwandan genocide? What human rights violations were committed during it? And how did the international community react? So first, just introduction, I'll kind of help guide you through. During the Rwandan genocide in 1994, between 800,000 and 1 million people were killed in 100 days. How many people live in your town/neighborhood? All right, so our town is New York City population. So we've got 8.4 million. 8.4 million in New York City. Let's go Brooklyn. Brooklyn population is right about 2.5. 2.5 mil in Brooklyn. And neighborhood, since I don't know exactly where you were from, you can change this to yours. I am just going to do where school is in Borum Hill. Population is about 12,000. Okay. So, how many times larger is 1 million people than your city's town neighborhood? What percentage of your population is 1 million people? All right, well, 1 million people is less than our city. So we are about, right, New York City is 8 times larger than 1 million. Brooklyn is 2.5 times larger. Whereas our neighborhood is less, right? But if we were just looking at Brooklyn, let's focus on Brooklyn. It's a little easier, right? What percentage of our city's population is 1 million people? So we've got of Brooklyn. Let's just round 50%. Right, that's 1 million people. So just under, right? New York City, what is 8 goes into 100. I'm gonna get a calculator, a cheat. Okay. It doesn't make sense. And okay, so New York City. I'm gonna type New York City, 1 million people is 12.5%. And so, like, if this were to happen in Brooklyn, about half of the people in Brooklyn would have been murdered. So, okay, a little perspective there. Large numbers. Okay, for the work for Monday, the 4th, got a couple of things. Just to quickly watch this quick little YouTube video. Minute and a half.
Rwanda and Burundi are home to.
Okay, just pull out the where in Rwanda, right? You go to say Central Africa. And as this happening, give me the dates and which group were involved. Probably the Hutu you'd want to throw in. You'd want to throw in the Tutsi. Any individuals that they say be specific, okay? Obviously, that's not going to be your answer, but give me the specific names of people, not. Please don't write individuals. Okay, so just a little bit of background, historical context. Next part for today is, actually 5 is probably a lot. Let's just do 3. Okay, I want you to identify 3 important events that led to the start of the genocide. So go to this similar website. Okay, some background information. It's all the same website you guys have been using, United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. A couple different tabs here that you'll use between today and tomorrow. Okay, so just read through it, find out some specific dates that you would want to use. So, like, there's a Hutu revolution in 1959. Rwanda got independence in 1962. You could use that. There's a civil war between Hutu and Tutsis in October 1990. So maybe that's something that you'd want to do, where Hutu extremists accuse all Tutsis of supporting the rebels operating outside the country. So that may be something like that we want to put October 1990. We have a Hutu versus Tutsi civil war. Why could this lead to genocide? The civil war probably increased animosity between the 2 ethnic groups that historically have not really liked each other. Besides, also now they've had violence and right. So civil war and violence probably increase animosity. Okay, so find 2 more events to add to your timeline, please. Okay, cool. That's all you need to do for day 1, Monday the 4th. Tuesday the 5th, similar to what you guys have done on the past 2. Okay, as you read through the website, specifically under violence and response or aftermath, what were some specific human rights that were violated? Okay, so an estimated 800,000 people, mostly Tutsi, were slaughtered in 100 days. Okay, read through this. You have a video you could watch. Okay, more than 25,000 Tutsis sought refuge at a school. Just read through, find out what happens. Okay, this is what I'm going to go with for my example. Okay, so we know that people were raped. We know people were killed. We know that people were treated badly. Okay? People were probably arrested. As you read through that, anything that checks off, please mark an X, mark a check, whatever it is. Take these down here. I am going to write down Article 5, describe what happened. Women were systematically and brutally raped. Okay, and how does this violate human rights? Women have the right to consent to. Women have the right to consent. Raping women, which automatically means that they did not have consent. So I'm still going to write without consent. Violates their human rights to their own body and has many negative, any physical and emotional harms, or what am I thinking about here? Any physical and emotional negative effects. If you want, you can go into much more detail with that. Please find at least 2 more to add to the violations of human rights in this category. Okay? And that's it for day 2. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I know that our work over this unit is very heavy. Also, to kind of go with the times that we're living in right now with our COVID pandemic. Just do your best. Please reach out whenever you need, if you ever need anything. Okay? You guys have a good 2 days. I will have chats open on Mondays and Wednesdays, okay, for the new assignments, if you ever need anything. All right? I will see you guys later. Have a good day.